So first, I want to thank you so much for your service in the Army, 8 years. Now, I have a question related to that because, you know, when you're going into the service, for me, I have never done service time. So I don't know. It's like, are there fears involved in that? And if so, how did you get through those?
Absolutely. I mean, there you are, a 22, 23-year-old boy, which you really are, and
Boy.
charge of 15, 16 men as I was as an armored platoon leader. And especially in a time of war. I mean, this was during the Iraq war where I did a 13-month tour of duty in Iraq. And so there was so much fear. There was so much doubt. There was so much what I call the imposter syndrome coming in of where, like, who am I to lead these men? Like, who am I to, decide, which path we take that could result in life or death? And it was a really scary time that kind of makes you realize that, sometimes in life, you just got to buckle down, grow up, and make things happen. And that was really me in my military days.
Now, when you got out then, how would you say that helped you with your future?
It really helped put things in perspective. I think a lot of people let small failures just completely blow them off course. And I would just say, you know what? I made a mistake here, or I failed there, or I really screwed up doing this. But in the big scheme of things, like, did somebody die because of my mistake? Am I putting my life or others in danger? And just like having that kind of perspective and realizing, you know what, I'm going to be able to wake up tomorrow. It's a brand new day and I'm going to be able to keep driving forward. That was a huge, huge help and a huge, huge benefit because, again, a lot of people will just quit at that point because they're like, oh my God, I'm just not cut out for this. Well, there's no quitting, when you're in war. Like, you don't quit. Like, you just do what needs to happen and you make mistakes, you learn, and you just survive and you drive forward. Like, that's what you do. And that's just kind of the attitude I applied to entrepreneurship. I'm like, you know what didn't kill me makes me stronger. Let me learn from that, drive forward, live to fight another day and see what happens. Here I am 6 years later, still rocking and rolling, having a good time.
Boy, are you? You're killing it. Oh my gosh. I was like, how many has he done? Well, what number are you on now of podcasts?
2010.
Whoa. That's just amazing. Did you ever think, like, when you got started, I know your plan was to do daily. But did you ever think it would still continue this far, or are you going to keep doing it for the next 20, 30 years? What?
Who knows? I mean, I take it 100 days at a time. I'm a big believer in just focusing, focusing on the near term, crushing it, and then reevaluating after that and saying, what feels right, what I want to do next.
Okay. That's a great, I love doing that, taking 100 days at a time. Now, so at the end of that 100 days and you look back, how many things, or have there been occasions where you've been like, you know what, that was a total stinker. I'm just dumping it. Good question.
Absolutely. All the time. I mean, the thing is, if every 5 things that I try, if one of them is a success, like, I'm crushing it,
That's
I mean,
good. Yeah.
A professional baseball player, is striking out 7 times, but getting 3 hits out of 10, he's an all-star. He's literally an all-star. So, I mean, like, the fact that we think that we need to be crushing it every time, succeeding on everything that we do, it's just a fallacy. It's not reality. It's not true. You're going to make mistakes. Just realize that, if you let your mistakes stop you, that's when you really fail. But if you learn from them and you add them, to your repertoire, to your mindset, to your knowledge base for that next swing, you're going to have a lot better chance of hitting a home run.
Now, this show is the Fearless Entrepreneurs. And because in my mind, like, everybody who's an entrepreneur is fearless because we put ourselves out there in ways that a lot of people are too scared to do. I was in the corporate world. I know you were in the corporate world. And, that's like kind of like that little box that you're sitting in this box, being told what to do, you're doing it, or you're getting fired, so you have, like, those are your options, right? Do the job or get fired. So you choose to do the job. But at what point, like, did you make your leap from, I'm driving day to day, and mine was the same thing. I was driving to work and I was like, this is bullshit. I'm out of here. And I just quit, and yours is somewhat of a similar story, but like, what point were you just like, I'm fed up with this?
I really looked back to my Army days and I can remember, like, committing to myself that, if I make it out of, this tour of duty in Iraq, then I'm committing to myself that I'm going to live the life that I'm most capable of living. I'm not going to settle for less because I will really truly look at life as a gift because life was taken away from many people, a lot of my brothers in arms and sisters in arms out there. And it was devastating. So I felt like I owed it to them to not settle for something, not to settle for a cubicle or a job where I just wasn't, giving as much value to the world as I could possibly give. And so every time I kind of found myself in that situation, whether it be law school or corporate finance or commercial real estate, and just really being like, you know what, if I'm being honest with myself, this isn't the best of my capabilities, I'm out. And I had the courage to do that. And it was tough, but that courage led me to where I am today, and I'm pretty happy about it.
That's awesome. So did you have any fears about leaving? Like when you finally made the final jump to go to entrepreneurship, did you have any fears related to that at all?
Yeah, because I'm a human being. And that's what people need to realize is like, if you are a human being, if you have a beating heart, then you're going to have fear. You're going to have doubt. You're going to have misgivings. You're going to second guess yourself. All of those things, because you're a human being. That is something that we absolutely have in common with every other person in this world. We have doubt. We have fear. That's just reality. You want to live the life of the top 1%, you've got to be one of the top 1% of people who can rise above that fear, rise above that doubt, and make things happen.
So when you encounter fearful situations, because even today, I'm sure you have fears today, people a lot of times see people who are excelling that 1%, and maybe they like, well, they don't have any problems because this or that, whatever excuses they're giving you for being so successful. But, like there's fears that you face. How do you recognize that you're having a fear? And then how do you talk yourself into like, I'm just going to do it anyway?
Listen, you're just honest with yourself. You just keep your finger on your own pulse. You meditate, you journal. Like if those things are part of what you're doing, then you're going to be able to recognize when these different things are happening. And that's really a critical step to take. So for me, I just keep my finger on the pulse. I learn from my meditation how I'm feeling, what my fears are, what my doubts are. I write down in my journal these things so I can identify them. And, I just stay ahead of the curve. And so when, the fears kind of rear their ugly heads, I'm prepared for it. I realize it's part of the journey. It's part of my story. It's part of the story of every single human being. Now, what can I do to rise above it? Like, who can I surround myself with? Like, that's why masterminds are so important. Like, when you're a part of a mastermind of like 3 or 4 other inspiring, motivational, positive people, when you're having one of those doubtful moments, it's very unlikely all 3 or 4 of them are as well. So 1 or 2 or 3 of them are going to be able to pull you out of that and get you out of that and be positive and say, this is, what you're doing. This is what you stand for. And then fast forward 6 months down the road, when they're going through that, you're able to pull them out of it. And that's why having that mastermind, because you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure you have your 5.
And that's an important point there, is that if you're going to have a mastermind, which you should, make sure that it's people who are positive and uplifting, because you can also, dive into that, surrounding yourself with those people who always bring you down. So if somebody's bringing you down, they're not the ones you want to have as part of your mastermind, probably, right?
You are correct.
I want to talk about something that you did. Okay, you were on The Price is Right, and you won a car. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You did a hole in 2, I think they call it.
Right.
Yeah.
I missed the first putt.
Yeah.
But then I sank the second one.
So are you a golfer?
No.
Okay. So that was even more impressive, because you went from the very last possible spot.
It was.
Because you like bombed the price thing. Okay. You like totally bombed it. But so you're
bad as it could be.
Exactly. So you're on stage there. You're on The Price is Right. This show is going to be seen by, I don't know how many millions of people. Again, talking about fears. What was it like to be up on that stage there with Mr. Carey there?
Yeah, it was kind of a surreal feeling because, I definitely grew up watching The Price is Right, of course, with Bob Barker back when I was younger. But, I remember my sister and I spending countless mornings and, just days just like watching The Price is Right. Never really thinking that I was even, ever even possibly going to be in the audience. It just never really crossed my mind. But then just, the opportunity to be in the audience and then getting my name called and going up on stage, it was just such a kind of a cool experience. I just tried to enjoy it for what it was. And, I almost... would I say played the worst game of The Price is Right possible? Because like if you actually watch the whole thing, like I lost on the first 5 showcases. So there's a total of 6 showcases.
Okay.
That was the very last showcase of the very last, part of the day. Okay. So I got up by bidding $1, and then I got up on the very last one. I got all of the pricing things wrong. So at this point, I could not have played worse to be where I was. At the putt from the furthest back spot, Drew Carey missed, then I missed, And then I knew I was going to miss again because, come on, even if I was a good golfer, to be honest, that's not like a level thing. It's like they drag it out. It's like being stored back in some musty, so it's like all bumpy and off level. And so I just kind of like hips back, forward. Somehow the thing found the bottom of the hole, and I drove away in a 2011 Ford Fiesta.
Whoa. And then you sold it after 57 miles, I think you said, or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I think just the opportunity to be on a show like that must be fun, especially you grow up watching something like that, right? I watched it with Bob Barker too. Spay your animals, people, okay? But that's just really awesome that you had that opportunity. And, I'm looking forward to getting myself on the Ellen DeGeneres show. So I'll let you know when that happens.
That's a better goal, by the way. That's a better goal.
Yeah, I think.
Although The Price is Right was never a goal for me. That just kind of happens. But the Ellen DeGeneres show, that's a worthy goal.
Yeah, I just love her. So I want to just, the very last thing before we go, because I know our time is just about up here, is I wanted to ask you, do you have any struggles that you're facing today? And, what do you do to work through those struggles?
Yeah, my biggest struggle, honestly, where I'm at is what to say yes to, because literally I need to say no to everything except the very few best opportunities. Because at my stage where I'm at right now, I'm saying no to opportunities that I would have killed for 3, 4, 5 years ago, but just don't make sense for me right now. They just don't, because I have to be so careful of my time. I have to know where my time is best spent. And that is honestly like here in my office, creating great content, being interviewed by people like you, doing interviews for my show, doing webinars, creating, all these different courses and trainings. Mm-hmm. So that's really what my biggest struggle is right now, is what to say yes to. And again, the very, very few things, but there's still things I should be saying yes to, just identifying what those very few yeses are. Number one. Number two, that was just the big thing. And so I will say that because of that, I recognize that like everybody's biggest struggle in life is really finding that one big idea and going all in. We all have ideas, but what's the one that we should be focusing on and going all in on? And I was struggling with that myself over the past few months, saying, what's my next big idea? And I really had a hard time with that. And so that actually gave me my idea. My next big idea, which was to create a completely free training. And I'm so proud of this because it's amazing. It is so much value, and it's completely free. And it is 3 hours to your big idea. So in 3 hours, you will follow this step-by-step training and you will have your big idea. So whether you have no idea right now and you want to have a big idea, or you have a bunch of ideas and you want to narrow it down to one, this 3-hour training is going, like everybody, believe me. Yeah. This 3-hour training is going to just change your life. It's going to give you that one big idea to focus on, to go all in and to dominate. So just visit yourbigidea.io and you can start that training today.
Okay. I thought you were going to say .com. I was like, how the heck did you get that domain name?
Maybe if this takes off, I will, because then because it's actually not being used right now. So I'll reach out to the guy and be like, yeah, how much, buddy? But I'm sure he'll have a pretty big price tag for it right now. So right now it's just yourbigidea.io. I love it. I can't wait. I'm going to go check it out right now, as a matter of fact. Well, thank you so much for being here again. I do appreciate your time. And with all that you just said about your struggles and stuff, I am so honored to be able to have you on my show. And I'm looking forward to getting all the downloads like you. You're my second interview. So let's do it. Well, it was a blast. It was great hanging out, and I look forward to watching your journey. Thank you so much. You have a great day. You too. Bye-bye.